And we are live and full of love on this February 11th, 2016. Welcome to our RT Week 16 Hangout. It's a little bit delayed, but it is going to be a doozy. I'm Ron Motter, host of Planeta.com, and I have a guest list for our Responsible Travel Week Hangout 2016. A great welcome to Aivar, Antonis, Chris, Natali, and Sudipta for joining us. This is wonderful. Going to run through everybody, and if you can, just introduce yourselves, and then we're going to get stuck into it and talking a little bit more about your issues. But can you briefly introduce yourselves and welcome, welcome, welcome. Aivar?
My name is Aivar Ruukel. I am from Estonia and working in tourism. I'm running a small company myself, so I hope I can tell you a little bit about it later on.
Great. Antonis?
Hello, Ron. Thank you for organizing this and operating, as always, as a catalyst for information and communication in terms of both ecotourism and online technology. I'm the editor of Ecoclub.com, International Ecotourism Club. We're a mutual aid network, you could say an alternative social network for ecological and equitable tourism, which was established last century. So, on a personal level, I'm inspired by ecology, both by the science and the political theory of ecology, and have covered tourism for the Green Party of Greece until 2012, before it unfortunately split in 3 pieces. So thank you, and waiting for the others to introduce themselves.
Antonis, thank you so much. We'll come back. Chris? Can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Right, okay. Hello everyone, my name's Chris Milnes. I'm from the UK originally, but I'm now based in Greece and the UK. The last time you heard from me on a hangout, I was in the UK, but I've been back in Greece now for a month and a half. I am a lawyer by trade, but I am interested in ecotourism and have been working to promote it in Greece over the last couple of years.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Well, we have 2 people in Greece. Could we have a third? Natali, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. Well, I'm a biologist with a master in environmental science. The last decade, I'm working in the university on Metrovio Interdisciplinary Research Center for the Mountains of Greece. And in that part, I'm doing research on mountain tourism and ecotourism. Before that, I was part in a company, worked for agrotourism in Greece, and I had the opportunity to do some research for ecotourism and ecotourism as well for the past years.
Beautiful. Okay,
yes.
we'll come back. We'll come back to that and talk more about Greece. This is fantastic. And just going through the list. So, Sudipta, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi everyone. I'm Sudipta. I'm originally from India. But I've been around many Asian countries now for the last 8-9 years. I'm researching on social media and ecotourism. That's my area of my PhD, and I'm currently now working as a senior lecturer with Berjaya University College of Hospitality here in Malaysia. So yeah, basically I'm looking at IT, social media, and ecotourism, kind of 2 worlds apart, but trying to bring them together. Yeah, so that's about me.
Beautiful. Well, folks, I'm very, very, very pleased that we could have such a distinguished panel and a great conversation about responsible travel around the world, and this is just mind-bogglingly good to me. All right, here's our commercial segue. Hangouts, brought to you by Chocolucci. the Oaxacan chocolate worth fighting for. And now back to our show. All right, I'm so excited about getting 3 people from Greece together. Greece for dummies, like myself. Aivar, you were mentioning something being split into 3, and we all know about some terrible economic problems. But you know, where is Greece in 2016, and what should people like myself know?
Is this you meant Antonis, not Aivar? The question.
That's right, I did.
Sorry.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, 3 words: crisis, chaos, and democracy. Three words, 3 Greek words. We have all of them currently. You've heard about the migrants crisis. In 2015, there were up to 800,000 migrants going through the Aegean and the Greek islands, trying to reach mainland Europe and Germany in particular. There were 4,500 people who drowned in the Mediterranean in 2015, the most ever. Currently, Greece is being paid money so as to set up 7 hotspots, in effect detention centers. And these are going to be set in island destinations, major island destinations like Kos Island, which is a major package holiday destination. There are currently a lot of protests there because bookings have fallen 40%, and the people don't particularly like the fact that a detention center where migrants will be held indefinitely maybe set up in these otherwise idyllic destinations. Greeks are migrating as well. I have many friends who have lost their jobs and have migrated in Europe, in the States, even to Australia. Unemployment in the latest data for October is 24.5%. Youth unemployment is double that. We are only second to South Africa in terms of unemployment. And tourism could have a major role to play because it's a labor-intensive sector. Tourism managed to do better in terms of numbers. There was, despite the crisis, there was a 5% increase in tourism arrivals in 2015. There was a record 23 million arrivals. It's not possible to tell how many of these were tourists. Not all were tourists. But the fact is that the revenue has actually fallen. And in 2014, for example, revenue increased 11% when arrivals had increased by something like 23%. So we've apparently passed the level of marginal returns. So, which brings me to the keyword called degrowth. I mean, it's maybe time to reconsider this love with growth and seek ways to reinvent tourism and go for democracy in tourism, actually. Grassroots enterprises, cooperatives, self-managed companies. There is a tradition in Greece since the 80s at least. We had the women's agro-tourism cooperatives. Some are still going strong, like the one in Pilion in Zagora village, the one in Petra in Mytilene. And I believe these are the most pure examples of responsible or sustainable or eco-tourism in Greece, in terms of setting up something which has a low impact and benefits the whole community. what else? There are the picture is bleak, but and there is a tendency to miss or discount many positive developments in initiatives at the local level. For example, I was checking the news so as to give you some latest good examples. I saw there's a municipal bike program for tourists in Chania, in Crete. Alonissos Island is trying to ban plastic bags. The Axios River Delta National Park, they set up a new information center. A major NGO, environmental NGO, Wiki, which is bird life in Greece, has just published a new guidebook. Greece's first diving park is going to open soon in Tyros, in eastern Peloponnese. Even in terms of gadgets, IT, Sifnos Island, the municipality has created a mobile application to encourage walking in the island's trails. Small and bigger events are constantly taking place around Greece in relation to sustainable tourism, and which is increasingly featured even in mainstream events like Horeca that Chris mentioned earlier. There are, of course, some controversial developments and threats, possible threats. The launch of seaplane ports in many small islands, including in protected areas like Paxi. Well, seaplane ports can be, they're not as fuel efficient as classic planes. But of course they require less infrastructure, so this is a bit dubious. The major threat is the enclosure, the possible enclosure of the last remaining unbuilt coastal commons in coastal areas and islands. Currently, there's a campaign to stop a controversial development in Ios Island. There's a signing campaign in Avaz. So, also the issue of sea farms. They are expanding despite the crisis, even in popular bathing spots near Athens, like Porto Germano. I will stop here so that we can continue and discuss some of these issues.
Oh, thank you so much.
I have something more. We recently interviewed Natali, Miss Natali Dologlou for Ecoclub, and in that interview, she raised many interesting points, and this is a recommended reading.
Well, let's go to Natali, yeah. And then Chris, we'll come to Chris, and then we're going to get to everybody. Natali, what are your thoughts on this? Natali, do you have anything to add?
I thought you talking to Chris. Sorry. So Antonis, I think talk about everything. So it's I agree with him. He has all the new issues in Greece for responsible tourism that will come up. He's a person that he knows what's going on. So I don't have much to add.
Okay, well then wait a second. Go back to my original question that I posed to Antonis. For dummies like myself who don't know that much about Greece outside of the 2 minutes of news coverage it gets a year, and that's always all bad, what should we know?
Well, one thing that most people doesn't know is that Greece is not only coastline and islands and summer tourism. And that Greece is 70% a mountainous country. So we have a lot of things to offer to tourism, responsible tourism actually, in mountains, because there is people living there that still produce food and doing agriculture in traditional way, and has a lot of product to offer, and also traditional houses that are used are guest houses, and paths that are open to hike our mountains and other activities. We have a lot of national parks, 29 actually, and besides the sea and the sun, we have a lot of things to offer.
All right. Now, one second. Now, if we were to use myself as an example, I'd be very interested in going into a rural community, a mountainous community in Greece, but I speak no Greek. And I am the foggiest of where I would even start looking for rural tourism options that you would recommend in Greece. Where would I look?
Okay, that's one big problem, because our national website doesn't help too much. However, there are some foreigner tour operators that do offer packages for Greece that I don't want to name them.
Well, again,
I can send you a link later, but actually, and some other, if you Google it, you can see as well new companies, small-scale companies in Greece that are trying to get a piece of the worldwide travel community, and has developed the last few years some good efforts in products for travel for destinations in rural areas. It's difficult. It's difficult for a foreigner to understand what is responsible tourism and what is just tourism, a tourism offer that it's not ecological or community based. It's very difficult. We have to do a lot of work to separate these efforts.
Well, we're starting, so thank you so much for your contributions, and yeah, well, please send any links. Send any links. Private things you can send privately, but if you can encourage people and you can cite a couple of good examples, please, make it as public as you can. We have our Facebook event page and the Google event, and if you're tweeting on Twitter, any of those things, just use the hashtag RTWeek16. Chris, move onto your perspectives on Greece. What are they?
Sure. I think since coming back here in January, I've noticed that things are getting progressively more difficult in some ways and better in others. At the moment, the farmers are striking all over the place. It was very difficult for us to get back from Kalamata, where we are based, to Athens because they had roadblocks everywhere. And these are the things that you see on the TV all the time, and you probably see these on foreign media as well, the negative side of what's going on in Greece, and you're not seeing enough of the positive things. I was really happy, and I don't know if you knew this, Adonis. There was an exhibition, 3-day exhibition this week, in fact, in Messenia, called Alterna Messenia, which brought together alternative tourism providers, people who focus on other activities, not necessarily responsible travel and ecotourism, but outdoor activities, mountain tourism, sea kayaking, these sort of things that could fit into the responsible tourism sector. So that's positive. And at the moment in Greece, I wanted to talk about this. There's an exhibition as well called Horeca, which is a large exhibition for hospitality and catering providers. That's starting tomorrow, in fact. And I'm going to try and share my screen so you can see this. Is that okay, Ron? Ron, can you hear me?
Nope, we still don't see it.
Can you see it now?
Hey, we see it. Perfect.
Okay. So this is the the World Class Trade Show, as it says there, that's taking place for 4 days. An interesting thing about this is that there's not a very big focus on responsible travel yet, or sustainability. I've just been looking through it, and there's a special event here. You can see that focuses on hotel build and design. It's going to focus on energy efficient hotel adaptation, so that's positive. But there's still some work to do in that regard. I would advise people to read the article on Ecoclub as well that was written based on the interview with Natali, because there's a lot of good history on that about what has happened in Greece and the difficulty that has been caused by political change over the last few years and lack of funds and the closure of small firms and initiatives that Natali was involved with that are no longer online. And this is something that's really tough. I don't know, perhaps Natali, you could give your thoughts on that and how that could potentially be brought back in as a tool. Something that you can't see from our what is it called, the lower thirds. Natali is also involved in the Greek Ecotourism Society with me, which is a small initiative that we started and I spoke about in the previous Hangouts. We are working together. We're making slow progress, too slow progress to be honest, but we are meeting and trying to push ecotourism within Greece, because there are so many great places on offer that foreign and domestic tourists are not aware of.
Well, thank Chris. That's great, and we're what do I want to say? All very eager, not figuring out what's happening in Greece and planning for the future.
It's challenging. It is, but it's worth fighting for.
Well, again, if at the very least, we figure out how to do 2 or 3 hangouts a year. If you figure out how to do your own hangouts, I think the question is, again, raising the awareness of what's out there. Because rural Greece is, I mean, maybe I'm simplifying this, but I think rural Greece is like rural Nevada, which is like rural Estonia, which is like rural Oaxaca, which is, it doesn't really have that many good tips on how to get there. So you may have a tour company, but it's kind of you do it or nothing else. The general information is what's missing. How do I get a bus out there? How do I rent a car to get out there? Is there a bike share program? It's the nuts and bolts of the logistics of transportation.
Mm-hmm.
What we've chatted before in other hangouts about the national parks and state parks that surround Las Vegas, Nevada. I mean, within a 5-hour radius, the nature is varied as it is magnificent. This is the Grand Canyon country. This is Zion. This is wildlife refuges and estuaries and Mojave Desert. But how do you get out there? And again, that's that little tricky thing. And as I say, if we can at least talk about it and perhaps build something into your websites and onto the Wiki and again whatever else makes sense to you, I think there's great room for progress in 2016. I mean, this is how optimistic and romantic I feel during this month. I have a question for you three. Translate, please, Responsible Tourism Week and Responsible Travel Week in Greek. And notice there's a difference between tourism and travel. What would you say?
Over to the Greeks, I think, is best for the correct translation.
Yeah, Responsible Tourism Week, you would say εβδομάδα υπεύθυνου τουρισμού. Υπεύθυνος τουρισμός, responsible travel and tourism. In Greek travel, I don't think there's a separate word for travel. It's actually ταξίδια and tourism. Ταξίδια και τουρισμός. But tourism is more common, I think. Natali, you agree?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So υπεύθυνος τουρισμός is responsible travel. It's not commonly used, but it sounds a bit better than a bit less pompous than αηφορικός τουρισμός or αηφόρος τουρισμός, which sounds too academic, in my view at least. Ecotourism is common. Ecotourism, more common.
Interesting. Aivar, let's move away from Greece and hit up Aivar for the latest in Estonia.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Chris was talking about travel fair starting tomorrow in Athens, I think. Yeah. I am also tomorrow going to travel fair, and I try to share it once again. So this is called Tour Est, Tourism and Estonia, and it's already happening 25th year. So it will be an anniversary this time. I'm not every year going there, but this year together with some other small businesses here in Sooma National Park, where I am based, we decided to share an stand.
Aivar, where does this take place?
In Tallinn, capital of Estonia.
Beautiful. Hey, make sure if you want, copy the link and put it into our Facebook event page for Responsible Travel Week.
I will. So I am very sorry that I have not been able to participate in all these social media things that has been taking place since Monday, because it has been extremely busy week. So tomorrow, the end of the week will be travel fair, but we also have something here happening right now, which is a very big tourism attraction, and it is a fifth season, how it is called, and it is a regular flooding of the national park area. So I hope you can see on this next.
Aivar, 1 second. Are you standing in water right now?
I am right now. I am in my flat, so no problem. But this is actually what it is. So it is a time when in some houses that are inside the park are water inside, and of course the activity that we do this time of the year, the fifth season or flood season, it is canoe trips in the flooded forests. So it is really a big thing right now.
Beautiful.
And we have had some hundreds of customers and also some journalists, and it has been a busy week, or even 2 weeks soon.
Fantastic.
And yeah, it would be enough, but it is not. So last weekend I still had a need to go for another meeting in Moscow, and in Moscow we was gathering with an organizing committee of the event that I am sharing right now. It is about the Finno-Ugric Congress. So this is an event that takes place in June in Finland. Finland is another Finno-Ugric nation, as Estonians are, and there are about 20 different nationalities, small indigenous people's languages, and the people that are based in Russia. So all these peoples, they have every 4th year, same way like Olympic Games, they have this Congress, and this time, first in history, one of the sessions at this Congress will be dedicated to sustainable tourism development in this Finno-Ugric world, and I am going there to make one of the presentations, and also I mean, it's very interesting small group now gathering there and discussing all this indigenous tourism in the context of Finno-Ugric nations.
By the way, Aivar, thank you so much for editing the Finno-Ugric people page.
Oh, welcome. Thank you for sharing all this here also. So as you see, Ron, I have some good excuses not being following you on a Twitter and all the other stuff during this week, but I'm happy to be part of this hangout.
Oh, thank you.
And it was really interesting to listen all the Greek friends and understand better how it is. I'm looking forward to go to Kalamata. Kalamata.
We're waiting for you.
Hopefully in the nearest future.
Oh, there's so many places to travel this year. A reminder, the way the Responsible Travel Week works, there's no shame in not doing anything more than what you're already doing. This is an unconference, so it's designed by you, for you, and I get to herd cats. And want to thank you for using that hashtag and participating wherever you're participating. It's also, maybe it's Responsible Travel Month. Most people I work with are still kind of waking up to the idea that it's a new year, and now it's only the year of the monkey, so the Chinese are just getting it right. So we're starting this off. So if you can participate more, you have to go back through the Twitter archives and heart and star and like the tweets that other people have posted, and find out about each other's places.
So you mentioned hashtag, so here is a hashtag about the Finno-Ugric Congress, which will be in 4 months. So we have enough time to go more deeper to all this sustainable tourism development issue in Finno-Ugric territories.
Well, we're going to be very interested, and we hope that you continue to use live video whenever and wherever you can.
By the way, Ron, do you use Snapchat?
No, I don't.
So
Are you on Periscope? Are you periscoping?
I had a nice experience yesterday because we have this 5th season flood. So I was taking over with my colleague Algis the official Snapchat channel of Estonian National Tourism Authority. Visit estonia.com, and we was snapping, meaning making a small 7-second videos and sending them to this new and popular social media platform.
If you can, record yourself saying Happy Responsible Travel Week or something like that, and post a link to us.
On a Snapchat, I have my personal account, but it's really not so easy to understand how it will work for a tourism marketing.
Hey, we'll come back to it, and great to see your kids. Let's head over to Malaysia. Sudipta, welcome. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about your interest in urban ecotourism?
Right. As I said, I'm working here as a senior lecturer at one of the universities here, and this week is pretty quiet week. It's the Chinese New Year week, and there's a fair amount of Chinese living in these countries, and the organization I work for are majority are Chinese. So it's been a quiet week for me this time, this time of the year. There have been quite a few small projects going on in my workplace and around on urban ecotourism, and they're trying to put a project on destinations in and around Kuala Lumpur city, which offer a bit of nature escapes and also a bit of created recreational facilities along with it. So there's been a not in a very big way, but there are quite a bit of small activities going on here in terms of urban nature-based activities. Well, this part of Malaysia is more towards cultural and urban tourism. But if you look at the eastern part of Malaysia, which primarily are the states of Sabah and Sarawak, there's a lot of ecotourism going on there, both near to the towns and in the rural and remote areas. But what the policymakers here are thinking is that they're bringing a kind of impact on the ecology and the communities in wherever ecotourism is occurring in remote areas. So the focus now is moving towards urban areas, so that it gives an opportunity to every class of the society to experience ecotourism. Many of these ecotourism destinations in the remote areas are not accessible by people who are handicapped or who cannot afford expensive ecotours. And so nature areas around the cities could be well accessible to people like this who are marginalized. And there is technology around, and also there is mass transit systems around which can connect with these urban nature-based areas. So there is a focus now shifting towards more towards urban-based ecotourism. And
one second. When you say there's a trend going toward that as a focus, it's a trend from the governments, from the citizens. Is it a cultural shift? Is it only in Kuala Lumpur? I mean, can you be a little bit more specific about where this is emerging?
It's kind of from all ways. I mean, it's from the government partly. It's also from the communities, from the local citizens. And it's not just limited to Kuala Lumpur as such. It's also been felt in Singapore, where many urban nature spaces have been used for ecotourism or in nature-based recreation in urban areas. It's in Hong Kong as well. It's in Taipei. So it's pretty much around the region. But since I live here in Kuala Lumpur, it is kind of more evident to me as what's happening around this place. So that's pretty much the fact.
Well, let me ask you now, as again, hosting a big travel website and conservation website, my question is kind of very specific and practical for the traveler. Can you recommend 3 places to visit in Kuala Lumpur to really to experience some of the best in urban or urban ecotourism? What would you recommend?
There are actually 4 places around this place, which is very close to the city, and one is actually within the city. The first one is Bukit Nanas, which is a very small forest reserve. It's right beneath the KL Tower. So it's one of the very old rainforest patches, small patches of rainforest that still exist within the city. So that's the first place one could encounter with nature here in Kuala Lumpur. Then we also have the Dark Caves, which is a part of the Batu Caves cultural center. It's a Hindu temple shrine there, and along with the Batu Caves, which is the shrine, there is another cave called the Dark Caves, where there is about 2 kilometers of cave, and a lot of caving activities take place there. It's organized by the Malaysian Nature Association, and then there is this FRIM, which is the Forest Research Institute of Malaysia. It's kind of educational as well as recreational center for nature tourism and nature. And there is also a place called Sungai Chiling, which is not close, really inside or on the periphery of KL, but it's a bit far away. It's not that far, about an hour's distance from here. So there one can experience adventure tourism. There is there is a mountainous river where there's a lot of hiking opportunities and things like that. So there are quite a few around this town, around Kuala Lumpur. It offers a lot of opportunities for urban nature.
Can I ask, are there any cooperative efforts, like a community owned in KL, in Kuala Lumpur?
It's mostly managed by the government and the government authorities, like the FRIM. It's from the Malaysian Forest Department. The Bukit Nalas is managed by the Forest Department as well, and the Batu Caves one is managed by the Malaysian Nature Association. It's a kind of an NGO which manages and conducts this tour. So it's still not been a collective citizen effort yet, but yes, when it comes to participation, there's a lot of local citizen involvement in it. So I mean, in terms of managing, it's from the government mainly, and from participation, it's the local citizens, which are mostly involved in this, right? Yeah.
May I have a question to you as well?
Sure.
I was very impressed about your topic of your research. Can I find something online, or where can I do it? Where can I find about your research?
Well, I did research on social media, the use of social media by ecotourists. So, but of course, the setting was on was urban, nature-based areas. Well, this is in terms of research, this has not been very widely a researched area, so to say. There was a bit of research work about 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, by some universities in North America, and after that, I don't know, the interest went away. I didn't find many papers on this, but it's slowly coming back into research, into academia, and of course, there are many sources where you can find researched papers on or work on urban ecotourism, and of course, the use of technology in it. Of course, there aren't many, but there are quite a few of them. Yeah.
On this topic, can I ask something? If through a bit in your research you came across the term digital colonialism, as in, I mean, there are 4 giants these days in the internet. A French academic called them GAFA, Google, Amazon, Facebook, and another one. So, and it seems that sometimes I feel like we're volunteers, unpaid volunteers, using all these free tools, these wonderful free tools that they're offering us, and sometimes and somehow they are managing to make tremendous profits without charging us. For example, Facebook announced a profit of 1 billion in January. So how is this possible without charging us? It seems that these tools are creating a sort of transparency and some say false hope, and but the transparency is a joke on us, on the consumers. So somehow there's a trick there. I'm not sure. I mean, it's nice to be able to, in terms of social media, to be able to keep independent efforts like Planeta, like Ecoclub, not corporate social networks. I mean, what is your opinion?
Yeah, that's a very good observation. I mean, of course, when you talk about the social media platforms, it is a lot corporatized, especially Facebook going corporate a few years ago, and the many others are there. And they do actually use consumers as unpaid labor to get their job done. And but when it comes to ecotourism using them, well, it depends on what they're looking at and how much they're able to utilize and share the knowledge. Of course, it's a kind of how do I say, a co-opted platform, or co-opted thing which are being used by these corporatized social media platforms, and but that's probably one of the ways how people could actually share knowledge, share information, and kind of communicate with each other. Until they're going to the extent of creating independent communities of ecotourists and co-creating among themselves, and they're really looking for independent social media platforms. Until they go to that extent, I would say that these so-called corporatized platforms are kind of useful. But of course, the alternative non-corporatized platforms would surely be helpful if ecotourists are kind of finding their own way of independent ways of organizing and sharing information and knowledge. That I'd probably look towards that time when there will be independent platforms.
Hey, a quick question. Sudipta, how did you find out about this Hangout?
I was introduced by Antonis to this Hangout, and I'm really thankful to him that I've been given the opportunity to be a part of this. And that's how I actually came to know about this platform.
Well,
me too. I got a personal email from Antonis, so I couldn't not to join.
Well, as I say, I'd like to make this a regular tradition, a habit for us, and as much as I can do, I'll host, and I'd encourage you folks to do something similar. Antonis makes some very good points about the social media platforms, and as far as I'm convinced, we just need to figure out how to use them. And certainly there are problems with them, but I sense that there are more problems if we don't use Facebook or if we don't use YouTube. Is it the only way? No, but it's a great way to have this face-to-face with all of the glitches involved. I mean, it's not perfect, but I mean, to be able to chat with Antonis and Aivar, who I've corresponded with for so long, to meet new people, to have this, you go to a conference and it's, here are people who've talked about ecotourism for 20 years, let's hear them talk to each other, and then, yes, we have time for 3 questions at the end. I'm tired of those conferences. I want to be able to have actual conversations, and I want to, meet up with people I've chatted with for so long, and I want to be able to meet new people, and dragging Natali into the conversation on the heels of her wonderful Q&A on Ecoclub. Great, because I think we have a way of building things together, and yeah, we're going to use the social web channels and all of that, but yeah, there's a new role for Planeta. There's a new role for Ecoclub. What do we want to present? And Planeta is going through a phenomenal change right now, going onto a WordPress platform soon. What do we do with it? I don't know. I'd like it really to be that conveyor of reliable, trustworthy information, not just to a tourism company, but to the region and to the community and to the social issues and the fabric, the warts and all approach. But meanwhile, if some company wants to offer a tour and someone's doing their cooking tour of Oaxaca or their cave tours, whatever, fine. Let's find a way of putting that in and making it worthwhile. Antonis talks about the 5th season. Again, how do we get people diverted to Estonia this month to go see that? Or if they're in Estonia, to think, wow, going on this guided tour with Antonis, with
Aivar.
mix up your names all the time, to go on this tour with Aivar, well, that's one of the coolest things ever. Aivar? I know Ivar's a 5 on the reliability, trustworthy scale. We like Aivar. Whatever.
Yes.
How do we?
Excellent guy. I've sampled myself. The wonderful Soma region. Yes.
Exactly, and Antonis.
Welcome back, Antonis.
Antonis, I'll use your name right. You and I have had our visits to Estonia, and all of a sudden it's a real place, and we can understand the vibe, and we can understand the role that Aivar plays. Now the question is, again, how do we make sure that Aivar's phones are ringing off the hook next week? How do we get the rural town in Greece promoted for whatever festival it's having next month, and to take our video cameras and our cameras there? How do we promote the city parks? when I wrote the Mexico guidebook, I paid very special attention to the city parks in Mexico City. And the editors were saying, no, we want to talk about the outdoor wilderness. Well, how do you appreciate and conserve the outdoor wilderness, the parks and biosphere reserves, if you can't protect a city park that was at the heart of your reforestation project 100 years ago? You know, all of these really cool things are out there, but, you know, we have to find a better way of showcasing some of these opportunities for locals and travelers.
Can I just add something to that, Ron? I think that the power of images and videos online to attract people is so much more powerful than just talking about it. Because we're having this chat now about these nice mountains in Greece and nice areas, but until you see an image of it or a video, then you really appreciate it.
Agreed. I'm going to say live video right now. You know, has anyone tried Periscope? And if you haven't, you know, please take a look at the video I recorded earlier this week from Cornerstone Park, a retrofitted, refurbished quarry that's now this beautiful estuary and wetlands area for our Las Vegas geese and ducks and seagulls. I mean, it's an amazing place. And I used a live video app, Periscope. But you know, I challenge you. You know, take more pictures. Is that on your phone? It's on the I use the phone. I mean, you know, Sudipta, I would love to see some pictures and video from these parks.
Okay, you mean the ones in Kuala Lumpur, or
that's right.
Around this?
No, whatever's. Again, here's, you know, this is Responsible Travel Week. This is the biggest online unconference in the realm of alternative travel. In other words, you don't have to go very far. You're already there. You're already at a magnificent destination for us, which you call home. All right, you know, show us, and you know, tweet us, Facebook us, etc., etc. If you want to help edit the wiki, But you know, give me something I can put on the wiki that gets people out to some of these areas, and you know, as knowledgeable, conscious, responsible ecotourists.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, you know, going back in time. You know, when Antonis launched Ecoclub, a great looking website, good information, and you know, Antonis has, you know, seen the transformation of the web in this time. You know, it's not, you know, long reads are exceptionally valuable, but boy, people want to see more visuals. So, you know, what do we do?
Yeah, but there has to be a balance between too much information and too many images. So, depends on the images, it depends on the information. They say one photograph can equal 1,000 words. So, it's an art. It's an art. There are no rules. Some are good artists, some are not as good. Depends on the topic also.
Yeah.
I agree. Any last points, and then we'll wind up this conversation. And as I say, we'll have another one soon, whenever you'd like. Chris?
I've got one. Yeah. Good things that have been happening in Greece over the last few months include the travel convention run by APTA, the Association of British Travel Agents, agencies, that took place in the Peloponnese, a huge event. Let me just share my screen so you can see that. Wait 1 second. I'll get used to this in the end. Which one is it? I think, okay. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, there it is. And the latest that's coming up is actually the GSTC are holding their European regional meeting in Greece, in Crete, in May.
Ooh. Will there be live video?
We'll have to see. That's something I'm not sure about.
Well, we'll just ask them.
Yeah, why not? We could set up something like we did at the European Ecotourism Conference as well, with a bottle and an elastic band. But Aivar probably won't be there. Or will you, Aivar?
No, I don't plan to go there.
No, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, again, it's great to show that, and if you can, add it to the wiki. And if you can, it would be wonderful to have live video from these meetings.
Sure.
Any other final comments? The upcoming events? Anything anybody wants to add? Okay.
Just want to thank you for this hangout. And have you ever been thinking about trying Blab? It's something similar to Google Hangout, but it is on the mobiles.
Well, let's take a look at it. And you know,
Yeah.
Ivar, my response is always, well, have you seen it? Have you seen me on it? And is there a wiki page about it? And if there's not a wiki page, you create the wiki page. But you know, I'm not going to be on everything you're on, and nor will you be on everything I'm on, or any permutation. You know, yeah, I go old school with Flickr. And why do I love Flickr? It's because it has embedded in it those Creative Commons licenses, which make it possible to use legally other types of media, you know, these photos on other sites. But you know, whatever you want to use, but you know, share with us and let us know where to find you. All right, folks, I want to say thank you very much for participating in this.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
And viewers, please take a look at our video, and if you have comments, write the comments in. We'll be time-stamping favorite bits, and this is a conversation that is just in the still beginning. Thank you much.